we'll engage with you over time. I know this is really our first show of our series during this turbulent time. And Jimmy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I talked to some people yesterday that really have been very encouraging. It's anecdotal evidence, but it's evidence from the streets of what's actually going on in Las Vegas, from people that are in the streets that are working, and that's who I want to listen to. The pundits and the people that are sitting at the cloud level, the sky level. I think they feel a certain thing, but I don't think their feelings are actually true. I think they're not accurate. And when they publish their feelings, and I know you're going to read us the article from the RJ, when they start spouting off and we expect the experts to know, I think the people on the street know better than the experts.
Well, I think that's true too. And let me just share what I don't know if everybody's seen the paper today, but it says Las Vegas housing market faces turbulent times. And I think that's something that we do expect. And our president had quoted some stats, and he says that locally this month, newly signed sales contracts are down 27%, and new listings are down 7% from a year ago. And if everybody remembers, last month was one of our record Februaries. So I don't know how that plays into the March numbers, but sales cancellations fell nearly 30%, showing that people under contract to buy aren't bailing in rising numbers, according to our data at the GLVAR or the LVR. Blanchard, our president, expects prices to drop. He said that we hit a median high of 316,000 and for resales, and he thinks that's short-lived. And nationally, however, the home buyer interest has dropped sharply this month. And the National Association of Realtors said that 48% of members who took a survey this week said that buyer interest had decreased, and because of the coronavirus. In other words, they specifically said that they're not out there looking for homes right now because of the coronavirus. And that's triple the share of members who reported the previous week that buyer interest had fallen. And I think Blanchard says it would be naive to think that amid the turmoil and through a pullback, it would be as sellers could moderate the price drops. And I guess we'll see about that. What do you think about the prices dropping?
Well, here's what I know, and this is from, again, it's empirical research. It's anecdotal a little bit, but I want to give a big shout out to Marianne Griffin, because she's my girl at Lennar Homes. And you know that Lennar and Richmond American and Pulte control 49% of the new home market. So you got three builders that control half the market. And I called her yesterday because they published a sheet that talked about what they have standing, their standing inventory. As big as Lennar is, they only have 14 homes that are standing, and 8 of those are in Monterey Ranch Groves. So I called Marianne. I said, look, is this all you have standing? She said, yeah. I said, well, what's going on with you? She says, we haven't had any cancellations, 0. And she said, they have some type of a wave software. I talked to her at noon on Saturday. She said, we've already had 5 sales this morning. This morning, 5 sales. Now it's Lennar, it's a big builder. But she said, our sales offices are closed. You can't just come right in, but you can call and make an appointment. And she said, the reason they want people to call is they're asking people, have you traveled outside the country recently? And if the answer is yes, they're not showing you the house. But anybody that's serious that wants to see a house, they're showing them houses and they're selling them houses.
Yeah.
So they're still very active. And maybe that's partly because some of the other builders have just closed down. But like a lot of places, you and I both talked about this yesterday, the title companies, you always had to make an appointment. You can't just go in and sign your papers. So now they've locked the doors and they say, you need to make an appointment. So the anecdotal evidence that I'm looking at is I had a couple agents that doing open houses this weekend, and they had less traffic, but the traffic was more serious.
Well, yeah, there you go. I have a question for you. Is the agent asking them to put on booties or masks or gloves, anything of that nature?
I don't think so, although I think hand sanitizer is certainly a plus if you can have it. I think it shows that you're a little more concerned about things and maybe a little more careful. I haven't heard that, though. I didn't ask them that. I know you mentioned that the other day.
Yeah, I just think that going forward, that's going to be a good idea. Just because you can put the hand sanitizer on, but you may touch something, though, and I don't want to risk, personally, I don't want to risk that what I'm touching may have, a virus on it. And it was interesting when we were traveling. I don't know if everybody knows, John and I were in California Monday and Tuesday, and I was scared half to death that we couldn't get back out again, but we did. We made it before they locked everything down. But anyway, because I was afraid we'd get locked down in a hotel, and couldn't leave. I mean, I really wasn't sure what the lockdown was going to mean. But anyway, aside from that, so I had gloves. I had white gloves, and I used a restroom. Now, you can't get into any McDonald's to use restrooms when you're coming on I-15 or any fast food chain. However, the gas stations do have outside restrooms, and you can use them. So I put my white gloves on, and I went into the restroom. And of course, it's a 6-7 hour trip from Santa Barbara to Las Vegas. So what I did, then all of a sudden I have to go to the restroom again. I'm driving, I'm drinking a lot of fluids and what have you. And so I had to stop again. And then I'm thinking, I may want to sanitize these gloves that because I touched the door in the previous restroom, right? So I had some hydrogen peroxide, and I put that on my gloves to go in the second restroom. And I think that I don't know. I mean, public restrooms, you have to be very, very careful. But I don't think we can be too careful. And I want to let everybody know that a lot of these spray sanitizers, they don't kill virus and bacteria. Now, they say they're disinfectants, so I'm not really sure, Jimmy. Maybe you got some wisdom on that. But I read up, and I posted this on my Facebook page. Hydrogen peroxide does kill the germs and bacteria and the coronavirus. So, I think that it wouldn't be a bad idea to have some gloves at the open house, have some booties, and even some masks. I don't think we can be too careful, and I know that we don't want to spread this. And if people feel that we're taking those precautions, that I think they'll be more likely to entertain going out to open houses.
Well, it's counterintuitive that they would close the restrooms because they keep telling us to wash our hands. Semmelweis and the Google Doodle the last couple of days, which I don't recall them leaving the same Google Doodle up more than one day before. But this Ignaz Semmelweis he's the one that came out with the hand washing procedure for doctors and for hospitals. And that's been up a couple of days. But I can't wash my hands if I can't go in the restroom. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, right. It is. So, but what do you think about the open house suggestions? So that if we're out there on social media, perhaps doing a live video that we're having an open house, we might want to, say that we have, either the hand sanitizer or whatever we have. But I think the more cautious we are, the more participation we might get at the open house.
Well, I went to Smith's the other day, and there was a employee of Smith's standing by the front door offering me an alcohol drenched, and I think it has to be 60% alcohol or something for it to actually work. But they were standing by the front door. They were offering everyone that came in, here's a towel. You can wipe off your cart. You can wipe your hands. They were right there by the door. So they're being responsive and responsible. And so, yeah, it definitely, there's people that are going to say, this person was actually paying attention. That
Yeah.
At least the hand wipes. I've heard that the masks do not work. That's what I've heard. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert. And as you said, there's all kinds of information out there. Who
Well,
knows?
yeah. Well, so we were at the doctor's Monday, and John had to have emergency surgery on Tuesday, and we were really, apprehensive about all of this. And the doctor said, that the masks work because in the event that somebody sneezes at you. So, you're protecting yourself from somebody that might have, just an intermittent sneeze or a cough or something like that, because according to my doctor, this is transmitted by droplets, of the virus getting on you. And then that's why they say don't touch your eyes and your nose and your mouth, and keep your fingers off your face, because that's how it's transmitted. So the masks really, I think, are not a bad idea. Because it protects you from someone sneezing. And if someone sneezes, it protects them from, emitting those droplets into the air.
That I did hear. I did hear the one that has the virus, if they wear a mask, then you're good. But if you're wearing a mask, it might not help. And maybe because it would get on your hands or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think you made some comments about Mr. Blanchard, our president. And I'm thinking, which president did you mean? Did you mean President Trump or President Blanchard? And I know
President Blanchard. Yes, the Las Vegas realtors.
Yeah, we're
Association.
pretty important, but not to Trump. We're
Yeah.
Blanchard, but it's interesting that he talks about some numbers, and he said the number of cancellations are down. That was the second piece of anecdotal evidence I got. I talked to one of my business partners. Their aunt works at one of the local title companies, and she's an extremely busy escrow officer. And she said she'd had only 3 cancellations the whole week,
Yeah.
only 3. So
Yeah.
it's not, people aren't, as you said. I think we may have some people that are afraid of missing out on these low interest rates. You know what? I know there's uncertainty, but if I don't close, I'm not going to get this interest rate. And
Right.
even if prices go down $15,000, if rates go up a quarter or 0.5%, it costs us more money monthly to buy this house. So
Yes.
we need to make sure we're spreading that. Look, if you can wait if you want to, and if you do, and rates go up, it's going to, even if house prices go down, the cost of living in that house is going to go up, not down.
Now say that again.
Okay, if the cost, let's say the price does go down from 315, if that's our peak, and we go down to 280 even. If
Okay.
it drops $35,000, but rates go up 0.5%, the monthly payment goes up, not down, even though you bought the house for less money. And we live in the payment, not the price. Most people.
Exactly. And
So,
that is so important information. I tell people that all the time. It's like $10,000 more or less doesn't make a big difference in the payment.
right.
It really doesn't. But
But
the
a point,
interest rate,
yeah, yeah,
but when the interest rate changes, that's where you make the difference,
right.
not the price. And so, I may want to do um, put some numbers in my market watch for the blog I do this week, because I don't think a lot of people realize that. And that's why when we do the rent versus buy, people don't understand that, they're getting, if our appreciation is 5 to 7%, and of course we'll see what it is in the future. But if the appreciation is 5 to 7%, they're making $15,000-$20,000 a year in equity that they didn't actually have to work for, versus just paying rent and getting nothing. So, over a 5-year period, it's $100,000 in many cases, because the appreciation compounds based on the prices going up. So I don't think a lot of people understand that. They just want to buy a house. But I think more people might be considering buying houses if they understood the financial impact to their future.
Well, we know the biggest wealth creator has always been real estate. People can't seem to save money. They put it in the stock market, and they're so skittish about what's happening with the stock market. And I do want to give a shout out to Marianne Griffin, because the first thing she told me was about they have 5 sales on Saturday morning, and they've had like no cancellations. But I'm going to give you her number. It's 702-350-5146. 350-5146. Lennar has not had the best reputation as far as protecting agents from their commission. And I'm saying that because of a class that you and I gave,
Yes.
and the comments that came up there. And I personally have experienced that. But she said, you know what, that's why you call me first. I will let you know what you're going to get and where there's room, and just don't do it in front of your clients. But the second thing she said that I thought was very perspicacious, she said, where else are going to people put their money? I mean, interest rates are 0 or 1%. They can put it in the stock market, and who knows what's going to happen with that. Real estate might be a much safer place for them to put their money. Stock
Yeah.
market's not a good idea.
Right. Right. And I think what I heard yesterday from a financial person was that 75%. Let's see if I get this number correct. 75% of his clients, they have moved into bonds. Now, the significance of that is, now 25% stayed in the market. 75% of his clients, he moved into bonds versus them cashing out. So that's a very important point, that
Well, and if they
people,
move into bonds, they're not going to make any money.
well, but the point I think that he was making that's good, Jimmy, is that because they're moving into bonds, they're not taking their money out
Hmm.
and hoarding it.
Okay.
See, it's still in the system, and
Mhm.
and I think that has an impact on how much money that we generate, that the Federal Reserve generates. I'm not a guru when it comes to the stock market and things of that nature, but I think I understood what he said. Does that
Can
make sense?
can everybody see Karen's comments, or just you and I?
No, everybody can see them.
Great, great. And can they see
Hi,
her
Karen.
chat? Hey, Karen. In her chat, she says, I also gave them gloves to wear. So I think that's a smart broker. Good for her.
Yes,
Good for
yeah.
her.
And she said one of them wrote an offer. There's not enough room, Karen, to show everything you said, so I'm going to repeat it. Um, she said, "Good morning. I have two agents that were showing homes this weekend. One wrote an offer. I told them if owner was concerned about people coming in to ask them to step outside, the agent and the clients don't touch anything in the home, and that seemed to work. And she also gave them gloves to wear. So, um, I think that may be how we get through this, is being cautious and letting our sellers and buyers know that we're cautious. And I also want to say hi, Leslie. Thanks for joining us this morning as well.
This common sense is a superpower, and what Karen is doing is a common sense, solution to what. And you talked about this, Ruthie. Give them gloves, give them booties, whatever. Give them a mask, and you're an exceptional agent. But I had an agent that was trying to get into a house, and the people that were in there said, "Oh, we're really concerned. We're really concerned." And I said, "Well, just tell them to quarantine themselves in the bedroom. We'll leave one bedroom. We won't see it, but nobody will cough on them or sneeze on them.
Yeah,
Just go
yeah,
in the bedroom. We'll be there 5 minutes." But the buyer wants to see it.
yes,
Let them see it. If you want to sell your house, let the buyer see the house outside in the
yeah,
backyard. That's cool. That works. Just
yes,
social distancing. Oh my God.
exactly. And really, that's the most important thing right now, is protecting yourself, and then being distant from someone who may sneeze or cough.
Yeah, even the times when we're going to have a group meeting, they say, limited, feds say 50, our local government says 10. But they said, if you're going to meet with 10 or 12 or 15 people, just do social distancing. I shared with you that I taught a class in Albuquerque on Wednesday, and they had each person sitting at their own table. They had a big enough room where we had about 20 people in there, 25 people in there, and they each had their own little table. So there was some distance in between them. And most of them were not concerned, but the sponsor made an effort to allow plenty of room in between the people.
And the reason is, according to my doctor, is because somebody may sneeze or cough, and it has to be that, according to him, that transfers the virus to someone else. It has to be, and the droplets in the air. And one good thing about Las Vegas is that we have very dry air.
Mhm.
The more humid the climate, now this is just my opinion, the more humid the climate, the more those droplets would remain in that air, because it's filled with moisture as well. So I think in Vegas, like, it's so dry, that maybe that's a good thing.
Well, I think, you know what, I appreciate people listening to this. And if I'm listening to this, I want to know what kind of solutions are you coming up with? And you've already said, you know what, get the hand sanitizer, get the gloves, get the mask, be cautious, be mindful. But this is what I said the other day. My main message is just go to work. There's people out there that are willing to buy and
Yeah.
sell, and we've always needed to find the ones that are willing to buy and sell. Let's go get those people. Let's help them get into a house. They've figured out whether it's fear of missing out or whether they realize at this interest rate, those numbers that we quoted. But as a real estate agent, this is what I want to make sure I communicate today. If you're not using this time to sharpen your saw, you're missing an opportunity. And you have the Brian Buffini Pathways to Mastery coming up, and it
Yes.
starts April 3rd. And to find out about it, you go to Agent Formula, you click on the training calendar. So that's one click on the training calendar, move it ahead to April. That's 2 clicks, and you click on April 3rd, and it'll bring up the Buffini Pathways class. And it's a very interactive class. Ruthie doesn't make any money off this. I don't make any money off this. It's strictly to make our profession better. And if we don't have enough people in this class, that tells me that people are not paying attention. So go to Agent Formula, click on training, move the calendar to April, click on April 3rd, find the Pathways thing, get signed up. This is the time when you should be sharpening your saw. And we know the average commission is about $9,000. This training isn't even 1/10 of that. It's not 900. It's half. It's 0.5 of 10%. It's 5%. This
Yeah.
is the time to invest in yourself and your training and get sharper. Really, really, really. If I had one piece of advice, get signed up for that Buffini thing now so you don't miss it.
Yeah, because we're not going to have 20, 30 people in there, right, Jimmy? What was the number you decided that we'd limit?
But I think if we have 10 to 12, which is what the governor says, 10 in the room. So if we have 10 to 12 sign up, it's an 8-week program, and some weeks you'll be out taking listing. So not everybody's going to be there every session. So I'm thinking if we sign up between 12 and 14, we'll have 10 in the room. You have plenty of room in your training room for us
Right.
to distance each other. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
great facility. And here's the deal, Ruthie, I probably will not offer this training again this year. And if I
Right.
do, it'll be in November or December. So it's going to be 8 or 9 months before you can even take this again, unless you want to take it online, which is, I don't recommend that, because
No.
you're in a room with people that are taking the training that are in this market.
Yes.
So If I could give them one piece of advice right now, sharpen the saw, go to work, sharpen the saw, just make things happen.
Absolutely. And I think there, like you're saying, sharpen the saw. What this is giving us is time to do this. And I think that from a positive perspective, that we need to really embrace honing our skills, like Jimmy is saying, and the pathways to mastery. Jimmy, what are some of the outtakes that they can expect for taking the class?
Well, the percentage of agents that are not using a CRM is phenomenal, and that's always been an issue. And the CRM comes with the class, and one of the very first assignments is figure out who your top 100 people are and get them in the CRM and just start using this. And for 8 weeks in a row, you're held accountable. Did you use your CRM? Did you use your CRM? And we know that habits are built over time. And I'm probably the biggest offender in this whole CRM habit. But every time I get in this course, it forces me to work on it. Forces me to work on it, and that's a big takeaway. That's a big takeaway.
It is. And and we're going to be live streaming our social media classes. We were scheduled to do the 12-hour class, and we're going to live stream it and then make it available to those people who sign up also in video form, so that they can go back and learn it again, or see the parts that they missed, because there's no better time to learn these things. You have time, don't waste it. And there's lots of things that we can do wasting time, but this is a historical, I don't want to call it a lockdown, but I mean, we have to use our time productively. I don't know how many ways we can say it, or what I can say to perhaps persuade people to learn social media. Just like we're talking about now, go live to your friends and your family, and tell people that you're going to have an open house, or that you are doing things to protect the sellers and to protect the buyers, and give that information out there. Every single one of our agents should be doing that to keep our real estate industry alive. When people see all these realtors saying, we're going to protect you because you're going to wear a mask, you're going to wear gloves, you're going to do this, the sellers are going to step outside, actually have your script ready. And I would do that like 2 or 3 times a day, do a live video out there, because everybody has to remember, if I'm cooking dinner, I'm not looking at my stream, but later tonight I might look at it and I might see you. So you have to keep doing the same thing over and over again and get results, because people have to know we're still in business. They don't know. They're scared.
Well, turbulent times require leadership, and that's how you lead. You stay in front of them. You continue to give the same message. There was a lady president of Harvard for like 12 years in a row, and they did an interview with her, and I've forgotten her name, but she said, I'm shocked, as the president of Harvard, I have to keep saying the same thing over and over again. This is the vision of Harvard. This is the mission of Harvard. And she said in the interview, I have to say it over and over and over again. So what you're saying, repeat this message, common sense, lead, don't go hide in a hole, get out there, do your work, take precautions, but tell people I'm working. I wrote an offer. I'm doing an open house. I took a listing. If you know someone wants to buy a house, those are the people I want to talk to, the ones that are not afraid, that are moving forward. That's what we got to do.
Yeah, and Karen's saying that Karen is a Buffini mentor. Karen was with me for years when we were with Remax, and then she went on to start her own brokerage, which kudos to you. And she's taught it, and the agents who are doing Buffini are spending time talking to all of their database and dropping by. I mean, what a better time to leave a case of water on somebody's doorstep, and then direct message them or call them and tell them, hey, I just left you some water. There's so many things that we can do, and I get very passionate about it, and I just want to take everybody by the hand and say, come on, let's do it. And I know you feel that way too, Jimmy.
Nothing shows that you care more than showing up. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah. Yes. And this morning when I was did a little live video about us doing our little Monday or our little daily shows, is that take your database, text 5 to 10 people, or direct message them, or leave them a voicemail. But just use this time valuable to, you might not have talked to these people for a year or 2 years. You sold them a home 3 years ago. Just say, hey, you know, I'm Ruth. I sold you a home. I just want to see how you're doing. I'm using this time to reach out to all the people that helped me through my career. And I want you to know that I'm still here for you.
Yeah.
I mean, how difficult is that, and how nice is that to remember people, because they're wondering and they're fearful, and you can say, reach out to me if you have questions, and you can, you know, just it once you start doing it, it's amazing, Jimmy, and I know you know this, and you start thinking of what all the things that you can say.
Well, and the challenge is it's always been easier not to do it than it has been to do it. It's always been easier not to do it. So this is the time when you need, this is not time to be easy. This is time to go to work, go to work, go to work.
And I know we're supposed to do this in 5 or 10 minutes, but I enjoyed the people that joined us today and left comments. And we want to continue to hear from all of our realtor friends as what you're doing, just like Karen chimed in. And Michelle, thanks for joining us, and Leslie. And as time goes on, we're going to do like 5 to 10 minutes a day just to connect and see what you all are doing and how we can help you, and let you know what we're doing, like Jimmy talking to Mary Griffin, was her name?
Yeah, Marianne Griffin. And
Marianne
she's very
Griffin.
skilled. She's very good. I like her a lot.
Yeah, so that was a great tip. And to know that the new homes are open, at least Lennar is, by appointment. So you might want to get on the phone and find out if other builders are open, just like Lennar is, and what the protocol is.
Yeah.
Our office is open. The door is locked. And we do that because we want to know, you know, who it is, why they're knocking on the door, if they have an appointment. And on Monday, we'll have well, I think we already have the hand sanitizer there.